The Bill of Rights was the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. The Bill of Rights was created in order to ensure that everyone got equal rights. They could say unequal rights were unconstitutional. Before they added them, no one had any rights in the Constitution. It also guaranteed that the national government would not violate the rights of the people. Civil liberties are protections against government. They are guaranteed of the safety of persons, opinions, and property from arbitrary acts of government. Leading examples would be freedom of religion, freedom of speech and press, and the guarantee of a fair trial. Civil rights guarantee that people have the right to be treated the same regardless of their race, gender, or religion. These rights are the law in the United States and other many nations. The civil rights movement in the United States was a social, legal, and political struggle by African Americans against racial discrimination and to gain full citizenship rights. The civil rights movement started with a challenge to the system of segregation set up after abolition of slavery. The movement was characterized by protests, marches, boycotts, refusal to abide by segregation laws. It ended with the passage of a series of notable legislation such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, and the Civil Rights Act of 1968. In the United States, we have a limited government. This means that the government is limited. An example of this fact would be the many guarantees of personal freedom. All governments do have and use authority over individuals, but that does not mean that they have complete control over you. As shown in this picture, each aspect government controls of your life is one less aspect you control of your own life. That is where the limited government comes into place. They cannot control everything, only certain aspects.
Yeah. Is this what they want?
The Constitution guarantees many different rights to everyone in the United States. Everyone in the United States has equal rights. For example, everyone in the United States has a right of free speech, but no one enjoys absolute freedom of speech. That means people can go out offending, using profanity, and threatening people. That is just something a person clearly cannot do. Another example of this would be a recent case, Apollo Media Corporation versus United States. It unanimously upheld a federal law that makes it illegal for anyone to send obscene and intentionally annoying email via the internet. It leads me to one question. Why do I get so much spam? Most constitutional rights are extended to all persons. The Supreme Court has often held that persons covers aliens as well as citizens. Aliens are people who are not citizens of the country in which they live. Not all rights are given to aliens, however. Thus, the right to travel freely throughout the country is guaranteed to all citizens. But the travel of aliens can be restricted. For example, after the bombing of Pearl Harbor by Japan, all persons of Japanese descent living on the Pacific coast were evacuated, forcibly moved inland. Hold up. Swerve. We're going back to the Bill of Rights for this last segment of the video. Remember, the first 10 amendments were originally intended as restrictions on the new national government, not on the already existing states. For example, the Fifth Amendment says that no one person can be charged with a capital or otherwise infamous crime except by a grand jury. As a part of the Bill of Rights, this provision applies only to the national government. The states are free to use the grand jury to bring accusations of serious crimes, or if they prefer, they can use some other type of process for that purpose. There are some things that a state cannot deny. That is due to the 14th Amendment. That is called the Due Process Clause. It says, no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. These are the basic or essential to the American concept of ordered liberty. At this point, you should all have a question. Basic or essential? Which laws are? The court had answered this question in a long series of cases in which it had held that most but not all of the protections in the Bill of Rights are also covered by the 14th Amendment, Due Process Clause, and so apply against the states. In deciding those cases, the court had engaged in what has become to be known as the process of incorporation. It has incorporated, merged, combined most of the guarantees in the Bill of Rights into the 14th Amendment's Due Process Clause.
Well, it is a weeping in the morning and a natural thief. It is a weeping in the morning and a natural thief. It is a...
Nowhere else in the United States Constitution will you find all the rights held by the American people. The 9th Amendment declares that there are rights beyond those set out in so many words in the Constitution. For over years, the Supreme Court has found that there are in fact a number of rights retained by the people that include a guarantee that an accused person will not be tried on the basis of evidence unlawfully gained, and the right of women to have an abortion without undue interference by government.